Hey everybody, Bill Caskey here. I am back with you. I was gone last week, as you know. Actually, you may not know that. I was gone to Florida for spring break. But yeah, in my 60s, still taking a spring break as if I was a college student. Not quite the same kind of spring break, though. Unfortunately, this was with kids and grandkids, and didn't have kids and grandkids then that I knew about. Anyway, today we're going to talk about your income ascension framework. I've got a document that we've talked about on and off, but I want to go a little bit deeper into it this week. Actually, I want to make this week, each day of this week, a different section of this document because I think it warrants that. And I've had quite a few people who have reached out to me and said that was really good. We talked about this here a couple of weeks ago, and I want to go deeper on it. So the whole point of today is to do that. So I'm not sure if you are in the place where you are looking to grow your income, you're looking to increase revenue, but you just don't want to grind yourself to death doing it. That's the way I am. I'm always looking for growth, but I don't want to grow my effort. I would rather grow my results. And if you're in that boat, then this is a really good show for you today. Got a couple people joining us. I know that the LinkedIn family usually comes in late and comes in after the fact. So I just want to acknowledge the people who are here. If you want to say hi, I'll be glad to acknowledge you. But if not, that's okay. If you want to be anonymous, that's okay. No reason to break your anonymity here, especially this early on a Monday. One note this week, we're doing the $1 Million Seller Challenge. It's too late to join for this week. We do one every month. The next one will be on May the 6th. But it's an awesome time. We have, 50, 60 people signed up for it. It's a 1-week challenge. By all means, get on the next one. You can go to $1,000,000sellerchallenge.com. We've closed it off, I believe, for this week, but we'll be putting it up later this week for next month for May's edition. And I'm working on it right now, getting ready to launch that today at noon. So I'm looking forward to that. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of a income ascension framework. And that sounds clever. It's not meant to be. It should just be, how to grow your income. And if you're in sales or in VP of sales or sales leadership, a customer, a CEO, a president, a founder, you're always looking for ways to grow. And I have sought for the last few years a framework or a step-by-step process or something we can look at and say, hey, this is how we do it. This is the way to do it. If you want to grow your business, your income, and I know that if you're watching this, you want to grow, you have some kind of sight set on a higher level, then we're going to talk about these. And I want to talk about this first off in the macro. And then we'll get into each one of these. We'll talk a little bit today about business ethos, but we'll work our way through so that by Friday, we'll be talking about client maximization. I'm just giving you a little hint. This is what's in the $1 Million Seller package if you decide to join us in May. But the way this works is when you look at a framework like this, the entire framework has principles to it, has perspective to it, has a mindset component to it. And then each one of the categories there has its own mindset. For example, let's look at lead generation. I'm going to share with you, it looks like maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday, what lead generation should look like now going forward if you're in sales or in marketing. And it should not look the way it did 5 years ago. It just doesn't. It's totally changed. And the internet has done that. Technology has done that. Engagement and how people engage has done that. Social media has done. There's a lot of different external factors. But if you're going to go about generating leads, you have to have principles. You have to have beliefs in that. But again, the whole thing has to have that. So I want to talk about what those big picture issues are here today. Because if we can't get the big picture right, then each of these little sections is not going to be right either. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here just so you can see it. But here's a couple of things that I think are important. Number one, your mind here is the master key to all this. Your perspective leads to how you think, which leads to results. So this entire thing is a strategy. That's why I call it the income ascension strategy. The whole thing is a strategy, but then within each of these categories, there are strategies and their mindsets. Number two, in order to make all this work, your core message has to be crystal clear, compelling and transformational. Crystal clear. Your message has to be clear. It can't be spoken in the jargon of your business where, it's all the techno geek and clever words and 7-syllable words that people don't understand. Your message has to be clear. This won't work if your message is not clear. It's got to be clear. It's got to be compelling. It's got to be something in your message of value for the prospect. If there's something in it for you, the good feeling of being able to articulate a message in 150 words that nobody understands, well, that's great, but you're not going to make a whole lot of money doing that. So it's got to be compelling. It's got to have something in it for your prospect. If I were to ask you right now, John, what do you do right now in your business? Tell me about your business. You would probably tell me about your company and the types of products you feature or you sell or you manufacture, or the type of services you offer to clients. But I don't want to hear that. I want to hear something compelling. And the only way something is compelling, if it's about me as your prospect. That's compelling. That's compelling to me. And who else matters? I don't care if your message is compelling to you. You don't have the money that you're going to spend to get the value that you offer. The customer does. I do. So how compelling is it? And one way to make it compelling is to make it about you. The third element has to be transformational. Now, you might say, well, transformational and compelling, kind of the same thing. Yeah, but it's got to be compelling first in that it speaks to me. And then your message has to be transformational, meaning it has to take me somewhere. I get this question. I give this question a lot in my trainings. I just did it on Friday. And I work with a group of insiders, the Advanced Selling Podcast group of insiders. And I asked the question, how would you define your value? Give me the first few sentences. If somebody says, tell me, what do you do? But structure it from a problem or a transformational standpoint. Like, what kind of problem do you help people solve? Or what kind of transformation do you help people get? Either way is fine. Actually, it's best if there's both. But it's a struggle for people. It's a struggle. And I get a lot of, well, we do on-time delivery and we do efficient reproduction of your stats. Well, that's not a problem. That's not transformation. That's what you do. That's not what the customer wants. What the customer wants is to be taken somewhere and deposited so that they're different after having worked with you, even if it's just in your niche. If you do data reconstruction or whatever that was, data reconstruction or data interpretation, okay, great. That's what you do. Where is that going to lead me as a customer? How's that transformational for me? If I get this data stuff, so what? How's my life going to change? And the interesting thing is there's always a reason. There's always a transformation, always. Their life is different with you having showed up. But if you can't articulate that, they don't get it. They're not going to connect the dots. That's why you have to. Okay. So number 2 is the message. It has to be clear, compelling, and transformational. Number 3, to make this all work, if you've got to accept the belief that you can create a system that has people coming to you. If you don't have that belief, my system is not going to work for you, because my system is all built on people coming to you. Now, does that mean you don't make calls at all? You just sit back and chew on Fritos all day and eat chili and wait for the phone to ring? Of course not. You're out, you're active, you're in the marketplace. But when you're in the marketplace, people see you and say, I want to talk to you. And so if you can't accept the belief that it is possible for you to build a business and scale your income with people coming to you, if you don't believe that's possible, then it's not possible. Our beliefs make it so, as Shakespeare said, I think, in Othello. I'm not sure what that play was. Okay, so you've got to create an atmosphere. You've got to believe that you can create the atmosphere where people come to you. Then you have to create that atmosphere. You might say, Bill, come on. This whole belief thing, you've taken it too far. No, I haven't taken it too far. I probably haven't taken it far enough. If you don't believe, and I run across people all the time, CEOs, founders who have fairly successful businesses, but they still, everything is a grind. Everything is a grind to get new prospects in. And do I do advertising and buy billboards? And well, the billboards didn't work. And well, these worked and these didn't. Well, I spent $100,000 on them. Which 50,000 worked? There's all that grinding and all that chaos and drama around marketing and sales. I don't want you to experience that. I don't want you to experience that. I want you to be crystal clear on believing that it could happen where people can come to you, and then you create the atmosphere where people come to you. Number 4, when you do that, the ideal scenario is when your customer is selling to you. Your customer is selling you on why they need you and why they need the product that you represent and why they need the solution that you offer, why they need to solve the problem that they have, why they need to discover the problem they have, because sometimes people don't even know they have a problem. I run into VPs of sales all the time. I say, what's your conversion rate? Out of 100 deals you propose, what do you get? And they say, oh, we're pretty good. We get about 12%. I say, 12% is good. I don't say it quite that way. That would be insulting. But I say 12%, and you think that's good. Well, it's industry average. Industry average, that's what you want to be. You're striving for average in the industry with a bunch of people probably who don't do any work on improving their closing percentage. And so everybody in the industry looks around, yep, 12%, yeah, 12, 14%. We're at 15, woohoo, you win the award. Shouldn't it be 50%, 70%? What do we need to do to get it to 80%? That's the question. And you can get it to 80%. Now, it might mean that you are calling on fewer people, proposing fewer things. That's cool. But there's no reason why you can't get it much higher than 15%. So the ideal scenario is when they're coming to you, they're selling you. That's how to get your closing rate from 12% to 60%. Number 5, your ability to communicate your message is wrapped up in your skills of delivering your value in a way that separates you from the world. We've already talked about that a little bit. Number 6, you must have thought through the process in a compelling way so there's a followable track. Meaning, what does that mean? That means that your customer must be privy to your process. They must be able to articulate that process to people inside their company. So when their manager says, well, tell me, you talked to, Bobby Joe Smith on the phone and with Smith Enterprises, what's their price? Well, they don't share a price up front, but I will tell you their process. Their process is they want to talk to me, they want to talk to you, they want to talk to our users. They'll come up with an analysis, and at the end of that time, they'll provide a framework for a solution and a price. So if you don't have the process, all they'll be looking for is price. Price or process trumps price. Now, I think also we don't want to spend hours and hours on the process and taking them through the process. I think you want to spend most of your time on what's the transformation. Where am I taking you? Not what vehicle am I taking you in? That's the process. The process is the vehicle that gets them from where they are to where they want to be. Where they want to be is the payoff. So you got process. How am I going to get there? Payoff. What happens at the end? You guys aren't spending enough time on payoff. You're just not. You're just not. And I know that you will tell me, but Bill, everybody's payoff is different. By that, I agree with that. But generally, there's a macro payoff to you doing what you do for them that has little to do with the individual and unique applications of that payoff. So I want you to be thinking about what's the payoff when they work with you more than what's the process, but the process is still important. Number 7, opposing forces are always at work. There's the enemy, and I use that term. I'm not talking about the devil or Satan. I'm not talking about capital E enemy. I'm talking about lowercase e enemy. But there are enemies at work, and a lot of these are at work inside of us. So a guy like me comes along and says, hey, step number 1, you got to get your mind right. And you will say to me, my mind's right, Bill. My mind's been right since I was born. I've never had an errant thought. I've never had a limiting belief. My mind is always right. I wake up in the morning, my mind's right. I go to bed at night, my mind's right. And I will know you're lying, because the world has an effect on us. In fact, the idea that you're even telling me that your mind is right probably means you got some problems. You got some issues up there. So I want us to be super mindful and conscious of how we are thinking about ourselves, about our business, about our income ascension plan. And if we can do that, then we will have a chance, to overcome those opposing forces and sail through this process. But just recognize those forces are going to come up. Past beliefs. Your manager is an opposing force sometimes. How you've always done things is an opposing force. You could be flying through the marketplace and everybody loves you, and one person says, "Oh, I didn't like that email you sent," or I didn't like your website," and all of a sudden we're like, "Oh my, they didn't like the website." One person can mess us up. That's what I mean by opposing forces. Just recognize they're there. They will be there. Number 9, I want you to equate the wealth you harvest from the marketplace with the value you deliver. Sales and business is a method of creating personal wealth. Now, I'm not saying wealth all in 30 days, but over time you will create wealth. You will take money, you will earn money. The more money you earn, that's the whole idea of this income ascension plan, is I want you to earn more money, but I want you to earn it because you're bringing more value. So the amount we earn is commensurate with the value we bring. And if we stay in that mode of understanding that, then money is not dirty at all. Money is a good thing, because we're just getting paid a little sliver of the value that we bring. So think about this. One of the things I work with in my challengers, my $1 Million Seller Challenge, is I say, what do you want your income to be? Let's say a year from now, end of 2024, end of 2025, doesn't matter. Just pick a date, pick a time out there. What do you want your income to be? And let's say a person says, well, I want it, it's right now it's 200K. I want it to be 500K. Doesn't have to be $1 million. That's where I'd like to take people, but it doesn't have to be that. It's a metaphor. So I say, well, how much value are you going to have to deliver in the marketplace for you to generate $500,000 of personal income? Because that's the question. It's not, what do I need to do? Oh, I need to make 1,000 cold calls a day, and I need to stay up until 2 a.m. so I can get people in Australia up for the... No, it's not, what do I need to do? That at some point you're going to need to know how to do that. But the first thing you need to know is how much value you're going to have to deliver to get to $500,000. What do you need to sell? Okay, that could be part of it, but what do you need to deliver? What kind of value? So when we operate through the lens of value, which determines our income, it changes everything. It changes how we see ourselves. It changes what we do in the marketplace. It changes our ability to create content, because we're constantly looking to spread value. And the number 10 thing here, and I know we skipped around a little bit, number 10 thing that applies to this entire model here is the theory of congruence, which says and dictates that your self-worth is a mirror. Your riches is a mirror of your self-worth, meaning the more you think about yourself and your worth, your personal worth in the marketplace, the more likely that money is to show up. If I feel like I'm worth $50,000 a year and somebody comes along and says, Bill, you could be making $500,000 a year. And to be honest with you, I've struggled with this. I've struggled with, as I set higher goals, and I get that little feeling, I'm not sure I can get there. That's a self-worth issue. That's all that is. It's not a marketplace issue. Now, if you're, there's probably ways you can sabotage yourself there, but that's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about the theory of congruence is you will operate and earn in a manner congruent with how you see yourself. Self-worth, self-image, self-esteem, whatever all those selves are. But self-worth I like, because worth, I think we all understand that. So do you think you are worth 500K? Do you behave in a manner that a person who's earning 500K behaves in? Do you is your identity wrapped up in that 500K? And again, I know we're complex people. Our identity should not just be mirrored by what we earn. We're a whole lot more complex than that. But if you don't see yourself as being worth 500K, you're probably not going to get there. So hopefully that has helped you today. I just wanted to talk about the kind of the macro here of this strategy. And then we'll go in here in the next couple of days to business ethos, which is really mindset perspectives. We've given you a little bit of that today. We'll get into personal strategy. And I want to do a series all week on this. So hopefully this has helped. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments, leave them below. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Hope you have a great day.